Okay, April 27th, workout breakdown. It is a baseline day. It's also the start of a mini cycle for pull ups. Um, we're still under strength, under fatigue, and I'll go over the mini cycle here in a second, but that's not noted on the warm up page. Starting with the baseline, of course. A lot of you guys have done this. It seems pretty black and white, just max pull up test. I do think this is a prominent baseline. There's a lot of people, whether you're new or have been here for a while, that want to improve their pull ups or just have the ability to do a strict pull up without any help of the resistance bands. And this is a great way to learn kind of where you stand. And there's a lot of little things in here. So unlike the bar hang that we did the prior week, this one is very individual in terms of you need a trainer there to kind of score you. If you are doing them without any bands and you're just going for as many as you can do strict, you don't necessarily need a trainer there. But I think having somebody kind of watch you and make sure that your reps are, or the integrity of your reps, the full range of motion is intact, goes a long way to getting very accurate scoring. I know a lot of people don't like the pressure of somebody maybe telling them that it is a no rep. But again, just being sure and being precise, I don't think is ever a bad thing. So I may need to be a little bit patient on this day for the trainer to get to you just to make sure you get an accurate scoring. But remember, the score of 1 to 3 is all about if you are somebody that cannot do a strict pull-up without bands, you will get scored from a 1 to 3. I'm not going to go over all of those scorings. If you've done this in the past, you should have a score written down somewhere, I hope. But the trainer will go over all that on the 27th. And then those of you, of course, that are not using bands, you are just going for full range of motion. And technically speaking, you're trying your best not to use any level of momentum or kipping or bouncing or your knees. And you're just doing sheer strict pull-ups to get, an accurate reading as to where you stand. When you finish that, you go into the farmer's carries. Any type of carry variation typically falls on back day. It is incredible for your back, right? Like it challenges your traps. A lot of you guys that do carries, especially with a heavier weight or bigger volume, or don't miss, back day, your traps tend to get pretty fatigued. That is working on your posture and allowing yourself to stay upright and not rounding your shoulders. It targets, the lower part of your back in terms of stability, and then your lats obviously get hammered as they're trying to keep you upright and not sway side to side. A ton of spinal health here. Like farmer's carries are just incredible. It's one of the handful of movements that is pretty it'd be pretty hard to argue, how insanely valuable it is. I've grouped. Not to digress too much, but things like deadlifts, belly burpees, farmer's carries, they're just incredible for so many different reasons. So anyways, you'll do one shuttle. You'll go up by 1 each round, followed by 3 calories on the rower, which again, I love on back day. It's incredible in terms of paying attention to posture and pulling your back up out of your hips and using, obviously, your entire back to help you on the back end of the stroke. But that's neither here nor there. And you guys will work your way through the AMRAP. You should have a decent amount of time. It's an 18-minute block. You guys should get pretty far in this AMRAP. I'm looking for you guys to get pretty far in this AMRAP, so try to get to it as quickly as you can under the assumption you get a trainer to help you on the baseline. Following that, you got the week 1 of the mini cycle. Remember, we don't do any big cycles over summer. It's just way too much volatility in everybody's schedules with travel and school out of session. So kind of learn just like no big cycles because people just can't be consistent enough. You might miss a few for vacations or whatnot. So mini cycles seem a little bit more appropriate. We haven't done pull-ups in a while. Keep in mind, mini cycles are just 8 straight back days. You will pretty much lead with pull-ups. A little bit different, obviously, the baselines today. But your goal is just to get guaranteed volume and repetition and work on neuromuscular efficiency, work on just becoming more consistent with your form and your line of motion. And eventually, hopefully by the end of the 8 weeks, not only have you gotten obviously better at the pull-up in itself, but just more efficient with the path of motion, which is a big deal, especially if you're trying to eventually progress to less and less resistance or just simply do more strict pull-ups. But this is a big part of it. We haven't done this in a while. I know a lot of you guys probably do recognize this, but 9 minutes, very valuable 9 minutes to go through the motions correctly, work on holding an active hang, work on going from a dead hang to an active hang, and then again, a dead hang just for the grip strength. The big limiting factor for a lot of people on pull-ups is just your inability to hold the bar. So grip strength goes a long way here. Once you get through those 9 minutes of working your way through the fundamental stuff, you'll just go to straight pull-ups, which is kind of what everybody's waiting for. I do want to say this out loud. I think there's a little bit of a misconception here. Anytime you guys see these pull-ups with a T next to them, and it says 5 to 10 sets, that is a huge range. I would confidently say 80-90% of people are only doing 5 sets. Like the 10 sets, the 6 through 10, are for people who maybe lowball themselves on the resistance they're using. So maybe they use too much resistance and they realize at set 5, like they're just not even close to fatigued. Then you need to add a couple more sets in there. Ideally, you would fix that before you got to set 5, but that's, again, a conversation for class. And then people who are just really, really efficient at pull-ups, which, again, is not that many people. Like, if you pick them out of a crowd, even in Core 4, like, getting this good at strict pull-ups takes years. It takes a lot of time, discipline, repetition. So keep in mind, those 6 to 10 sets are for, the niche of people who are just very, very proficient and they want to get better. They need that volume. And for people who, again, likely lowball themselves in terms of using too much resistance to help themselves out. But most people should be aiming for 5 sets of 10. Like, that's the goal. You successfully do 5 sets of 10, and then you can kind of work from there on either limiting your resistance and finding the right group of resistance bands for you to progress. Or if you're doing 5 sets of 10 unbroken, strict, then obviously you can add more sets. The Metcon at the bottom, alternating snatches. I love Olympic lifts on back day. They're incredible. Again, the amount of stability and control you need to have over different muscle groups in order to maintain stability and transition power through your trunk fits really, really well on back day. But yeah, start of the mini cycle and also max pull-up test. Again, I would strongly advise, as always, that you show up on baseline days and you get an accurate reading as to where you guys currently stand.